Welcome to the Midlife Truth Bomb Show. I have been waiting to talk to you. Hi, Dr. Tayo.
Hello, Momenticaz.
How is everything in life over there?
Cold, snowy, but we are still here.
Warm, sticky, but we are still here. And look at us two today. We got the message color matched in our backgrounds and my logo. Love how
Yeah.
you show it showing up in Womentor colors today. Now, I've got a question for you.
Mm.
You love it when I ask you spontaneous questions. Somebody said to me the other
Oh, good
day,
one.
they get a
Mm.
bit of a laugh out of us, and when they're feeling a little down, they watch one of our little conversations. So, uh,
I'm glad.
yes, and we are definitely not scripted, right? We may have a topic we want to speak about, so we can keep you on track. So, Dr. Tayo, I notice that my clients and myself made change and make change massively over a 90-day period. And we're not talking periods because hopefully most of us are past that when we're over 50.
Good
But
one, Paz.
uh,
Good one.
I'm not sure if you're allowed to say that, but anyway, we seem to get away with a lot in these chats. So, having a structure, I want to
Mm.
ask you, why does a structure work for professional women in midlife that are wise? Why doesn't things just flow for us? Why do we still need structure?
I think structure of some point is important in life. It's what gets you into flow. Because if you didn't have that structure, you can't get into a flow. You'd be, zigzagging all over the place and not getting a result. Because once you're unfocused, defocused, guess what?
Mm.
It's called chaos. You're just not going to get the results you want. You want to be focused, to be converging somewhere. And that form of
Mm.
convergence, which is what we call structure, is going to get you to where you want to go. Without it,
Mm.
mm, it's tough.
And I talk with my clients a lot about from confusion to clarity. And I feel that structure not only brings clarity, but it also holds you accountable. So, in any good functioning business, they have goals, they have timelines, they have a structure, policies, procedures, do's, don'ts. And so, when it comes to dating, it's very challenging for women from a successful position to
Yes.
then work out how to have a structure in dating. And that's what I love when the penny drops with somebody and they go, bring what I know in the workplace into my dating. I never thought of that.
Well, and that is what you're saying about structure, because without it, without some guardrails, without some accountability, most people will just let things flow till the next day and the next day and the next day until it becomes the next year, until it becomes the next decade, until it becomes the
Mm.
next century, and then, you know,
Too late. We're dead.
too
Because
late. So you need those guard. You know how things are. When we have a deadline and we meet them, it's because we had a focus point, because we had a deadline, and we're accountable to get that goal met. So human beings are meant to have, we are meant to have structure. We are meant to have guardrails. We're meant to be accountable.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we're taught that as a child. If we think about it, as a
Mm.
child, we brush our teeth before we go to bed. We brush our teeth when we wake up in the morning. Before we cross the road, I don't know if you still do this, Dr. Tayo, but I do. Look to the left, look to the right, look to the left again. Now, that was bedded into my brain as a
Mhm.
structure. So these guidelines or these guardrails, as you perfectly
Mm.
described them, it's exactly the same. And that's how women get a complete life-changing experience in 90 days. And 90 days that's structured in the right way for busy women is a perfect way to address love, retraining the brain to do things a different way.
Well, just as you said, without structure, you're not going anywhere fast. And I basically took what I had learned after, like years of going through this process of midlife changes and said, okay, now that I know what I need to do, how do
Mm.
I structure it? And I've been able to structure it because there's a structure in just 60 days. Nobody has to suffer through all the kind of like,
Mm.
experimental phase that I did. You can get it all done in 60, 62 days, which is if you had July and August together, and get results because there is a structure and each bit builds on each other and becomes a compounding effect. And that's
Mm.
structures will give you results. And it doesn't have to be anything momentous to start off with. But just like in the Japanese Kaizen, small steps, consistency is the most important thing. And so when you
Mm.
have a 90-day block or a 60-day block, you do need the consistency. You're put in a container of consistency. And that
Mm.
consistency is going to give you accelerated results. Simple.
And you know the thing that both of us do, and anyone watching, you can tell we do this. We cut the fluff and go straight to the facts. And that is one of the other bonuses of being in structured um,
Environment.
container is
Environment.
that all the fluff is cut. Like Dr. Tayo, you just said there, you don't have to look around and wonder. All Everything is set up in a structure. And that's how
Mm.
I approach my mentoring with women who have busy lives. They're busy, they're strong, they're independent, they're
Who has
successful.
time? Who
Who
has
has
time?
time? And we were talking last time about brain fog. When you've got brain fog or you've got chaos going up here, that's when you actually really do need that structure and direction. So you know what's next. You've got a favorite saying.
Agreed.
What is that? It takes you back to
Well,
your youth.
it takes me back to, you've got to know where you're going, basically. And if you have that, then you can put that structure in place of those guardrails. It's a famous conversation. I love it, I love it, love it, between the Cheshire Cat, which is
Yeah.
kind of like one of my favorite characters, and Alice in Wonderland. And, Alice was, they were asking her where was she going? And she says, oh, she doesn't much care. So the Cheshire Cat says something along the lines of, well, then it doesn't matter which direction you take. It basically, hey, you can take
Mm.
any direction. But why would you go into that chaos situation when you can say, oh, if you take a left here and a right there, and go to the dog and duck pub. That's a very British thing. We go by pubs. Um, you will get to where you're going. You see the post office on the
Yes.
way, and then you see the old person on the road, and then you see, some tall tree or something. Then you know that you're on the right direction. But the funny thing is that until you actually get there, you won't know that you are there.
Oh, beautiful. And that is what I say to clients. If you don't know what it feels like to be aligned with the right person, if you can't tune into how you feel and how you want to feel, how the heck are you going to recognize it? And
Mm,
this is the problem, I think, for a lot of us. We're repeating the patterns and we are used to being hurt, used to being love bombed, ghosted, etc. And so
mm,
there's a part of us that is going out and we're attracting more of the same. So
mm.
exactly what you were talking about, that clear, precise direction as to where you're going and what are the steps to get you there. That's where you and me come in, and that's what we do. Now we're
There
running
you
out of
go.
time here, and I want to know if you've got anything to add. And I just want to tell you, I'm going to talk to you about habits of highly successful women.
Ooh, ooh,
So
ooh,
you
ooh, ooh. Okay.
get yourself ready for the
Everybody
next
get
episode.
prepared. You cannot afford to miss, you shouldn't miss anyone anyway, but you cannot afford to miss this one. So until next time, I'm going to say bye.
Ciao,
Kaz,
ciao,
bye.
bellas.
Ciao, 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 ciao.